Holy cannoli guacamole, we got a real humdinger of a talk. If you caught my last JW broadcasting video, I had mentioned in there that it felt like a lot of their talks are just getting boring, where they don't ever really say anything. And man, maybe I just got baptized in the Jordan and a little bird came down from heaven, the heavens opened up and said, hey, we are going to say a lot in this here zone visit from Canada. And by say a lot, I mean being able to read between the lines of what the governing body wants you to do without them telling you exactly what to do. Buckle up and get your popcorn. This one's pretty good. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are looking at a talk from the don't know why I said it like that, Canada's zone visit that they had recently. Quickly before we get into it, well actually before we do that, we'll do this. Someone told me that I needed to check this out. I don't really go on Reddit or anything, but shout outs to Larchwood. If you're someone that goes on Reddit, follow Larchwood. That's my goat right there. They are always posting the latest news and updates and stuff, and doesn't get much better than that account right there. So shout outs to them. But yeah, like I said, quickly before we get into it, don't forget to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. It helps it out, gets this video out to more people on YouTube and is very much appreciated. Trying to still hit that 50,000 subscribers, so your subscription, again, is very much appreciated. With all of that being said, let's jump right into this thing.
That's all, folks.
Our thinking and mental faculties. Instead of providing a lot of rules, Jehovah wants us to make wise decisions based on His word, the Bible, and our power of reason. The Jerusalem Bible renders this verse this way: you must worship God in a way that is worthy of thinking people. Thinking people. Not just a rule, but we need to think about why we do certain things. Jehovah dignifies us by allowing us to use our thinking ability, whether we're at work, whether we're at school, at home. So we want to always remember to honor Jehovah by what we say and do at all times as thinking people.
He is buttering up his audience more than a French pastry chef. I don't know. Trying to convince Jehovah's Witnesses that they're thinking people, like real used car salesmen here. Oh yeah, a lot of my smart customers are actually looking at this option. It is really funny, because if you just went and asked a Jehovah's Witness about a foundational belief that they have, let's just pick one, 1914. They start talking about 1914. Do you guys actually know how you arrived at 1914 being the date that Jesus began reigning in heaven invisibly? I would hazard a guess that it's somewhere in the 75 to 85 percentile that would give you this look. I only know this because I've talked to a fair amount of witnesses. I studied with witnesses when they came to my door and they brought up this 1914 thing, and I asked them, how'd you guys arrive at that date? And that was the look I got. I've talked to people at their witnessing carts, and it's the same look every time. I've never actually talked to someone that can successfully tell me how they arrived at that date, but it's pivotal. It is a foundational belief in which people are betting their future on, and they are living their life according to a rule set that if that date, 1914, is just this convoluted disaster of nonsense and lies and spin, it would shatter their belief system. And yet they don't even know how they arrive at that date. So can you really look at a Jehovah's Witness and be like, no, we know that we are thinking people? I mean, come on, guys. We all know. Like, I don't know what they do out there in the world, but we all here, God grants us the wonderful privilege of being thinking people. Brother, give me a break. They let someone else do the thinking for them. That is the best way I can describe it. When I was a Jehovah's Witness, I allowed someone to do the thinking for me. So no, I wholeheartedly reject this. Jehovah's Witnesses, I think, are demonstrably not thinking people. But again, he's just trying to butter them up for the thing that he's about to say.
Of course, Jehovah has not left us entirely on our own to perceive his thinking, his will. Jehovah uses the faithful and discreet slave, the governing body, to help train our perceptive powers. And at times, the faithful slave may encourage that we consider doing something this way. Or they may say, it might be best not to do it this way. But it's your decision. It's left up to you. At times, our decisions are based on unspoken messages from Jehovah, unspoken messages from his organization. Now, what do I mean by unspoken messages?
No, I don't think this is the craziest thing. We're all fairly familiar with the concept that we can communicate without speaking, words, that we can have unspoken messages, that we could convey our thoughts or feelings to other people. Even Jehovah apparently uses unspoken messages, so I guess they sound something like this. All jokes aside, this is a devious little game they're playing with Jehovah's Witnesses. Right when there appears to be a changing of the vibe in Kingdom Halls, where it feels like, okay, we're not just trying our, back in the day, 90s, 2000s, 80s, 60s, 70s, all through that time, Kingdom Hall's elders almost felt like they were trying to disfellowship with you. Well, I guess in some cases with you, but disfellowship you. That was like a goal of theirs, was to try and find out where you slipped up, like a little mission, secret detectives out here trying to get you. And there appeared to be this loosening, of some of the rules, some of the language, some of the vibes changing. And now they want Jehovah's Witnesses to be paranoid, not only about what the governing body say, but what they don't say or what they imply. Now, we'll get into exactly how he is going to talk about this. I won't give you your dessert before you eat your vegetables or anything like that, but I just find like this whole idea, if this does go, beyond the Canada branch, and it becomes, I imagine we'll see it in some Watchtower or maybe a JW broadcast or whatever, wherever it is. I'm sure that this will pop up later on again, but I think it's just really sad that Jehovah's Witnesses were finally starting to see a little ray of sunshine, and now let's get back to being paranoid.
Well, let's take, for an example, a family situation. Now, you young ones, can you discern what you should do by just a mere look by your mama and your papa? You know what I'm talking about. Now, I know you young ones do not do this. I know this. But now just suppose you were not paying attention at the Kingdom Hall, as you usually do. Just suppose. Now, what do you do when your mama, your papa, they turn their head in your direction and they just look at you? Isn't that enough for you to make the necessary adjustment? They didn't have to say a word, but you know what to do. Well, the same thing applies to those of us who are married. When my wife looks at me, I could tell when my wife is happy with me or not. And that's why I'm not looking at her right now. Her unspoken message is very clear to me.
You were born with a skin tone that allows for sartorial color diversity, and you chose to wear a blue suit knowing that there would be a blue background, and that tan and brown tie. That's what she's saying.
You husbands know what I'm talking about. Now, why do we understand such unspoken messages? Because we spend a lot of time with our loved ones. We have become well acquainted with their way of thinking and their way of doing things. So, in a similar way, the more time we spend with Jehovah, while reading his word, the Bible, engaging in personal study and meditation, we become more attuned to Jehovah's thinking. We understand unspoken messages.
Sorry to keep interrupting here, but I just can't get over the concept on how Jehovah's Witnesses have, for their whole history, basically laughed at, a little bit of scoffing at the idea that God works in mysterious ways. Whenever that notion came up, people that I knew I'm sure it's in Watchtowers because I didn't come up with that on my own, would look down on that. Like, well, God doesn't work in mysterious ways. He tells us what he wants from us. He shows us in his word, the Bible. He doesn't leave it up to guesswork. Like, it's just complete opposite of everything I know about my experience as a Jehovah's Witness. So where is this coming from, the idea that Jehovah gives us unspoken messages? I would like an example of how Jehovah, without the governing body, without any interpretation, without any human being saying something, what unspoken messages are we getting from God? And if we are, then why would you need a spokesperson for God, i.e., the governing body? If he's going to communicate through these unspoken messages, ostensibly it's because there's some update DLC pack that you need that you can't just get from directly reading the pages of the Bible. You need to understand this implied thing or this secret code, but he can just communicate that to you via you understanding him. Why would God need a spokesperson to say the thing that's supposed to be unspoken?
The governing body helps us with this. They help us to discern. They want us to get the spirit behind the direction. Besides unspoken messages, we also become well acquainted with the language of the organization. You know, like a child that becomes acquainted with the language of his papa or mama. For example, the organization may say, well, we do not recommend this course. Now, we could reason this way. Well, the organization said they don't recommend. They didn't say we couldn't do it. But is that sound thinking? Is that sound reasoning? We want to use our power of reason. Or the organization may say, well, it is not wise, that we follow this course. So does that mean it's okay?
Oh boy, this guy is really just trying not to say what he means. He's really doing his best to not just come out and say it. So a Jehovah's Witness hears this updated new light about, hey, we don't recommend this thing. You might want to consider if this is going to be a wise course of action. And someone, like going to college, for instance, says to themselves, well, I've evaluated my situation. I've looked into my future. I know myself better than anyone else could. I've talked to people that I trust, and I think that this is a wise course of action. Now, that is no longer a wise course of action. That personal decision that they were now allowed to make isn't actually a personal decision. One of Watchtower's favorite activities to get involved with as of recent is to say, well, this is just a personal choice. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't forced to do anything, get baptized, go out in service. They just do it of their own volition. It is a personal choice. And yet what he is telling Jehovah's Witnesses is that it's not actually a personal choice. If you're a thinking person that knows the language from an unspoken message. Language in an unspoken message? What are you talking about? Just say it. What he's trying not to say is that for a various amount of reasons, who really could know all the verisimilitudes of life? But the governing body won't come out and say, don't do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. They'll say, hey, here's things that are just a personal decision. Now here are our recommendations. Ball's in your court. This is something that I say all the time whenever there's like some little tweak or adjustment, when they call things a personal decision. Nothing with them is a personal decision. It's just functionally not. This is a bit consistent with my experience. Now, this language I'm familiar with because those personal decisions in my time as a Jehovah's Witness were never personal decisions, ever. When you got something from a Watchtower or from a circuit overseer or a governing body talk that was a recommendation, that was law. Full stop, end of story. And that's, people understood that. So this talk is confusing as they try and add to the column of things that are considered personal decisions. And now there must have been some type of cultural, like I said at the beginning, vibe shift amongst Watchtower that the governing, or amongst Jehovah's Witnesses, that the governing body wasn't happy with. So they want to remind people of that old school mentality. Hey, just so you know, when we are recommending things or not recommending things, we're telling you what to do. Just like a parent doesn't have to tell a child to sit and be quiet. They can just look at them. He says that. Like, he is saying, you Jehovah's Witnesses are children. And the governing daddies are looking at you when you're making these personal choices. So you wouldn't want to upset the governing daddies now, would you? I hate that expression that I said it so much, governing daddies. I wish I'm going to go brush my teeth.
That's how the organization, how they communicate with us. This is the kind of language that is used by Jehovah and his organization to dignify us. To dignify us. The governing body loves you very much. And they have confidence that we're going to make the right decision when it comes to Bible principles, our power of reason. See, if we're looking for a list of do's and don'ts, we're not going to get that. Mm-mm. You can listen to this song, but you cannot listen to this song. You can wear this, but you can't wear that. We're not going to get that. Jehovah dignifies us, allowing us to make those decisions based on Bible principles.
I need a hug.
You get the hugs. I love hugs.
This is the biggest load of hogwash, hooey, ho, dunkum nonsense I've heard in recent memory from Watchtower. He just got done describing how suggestions and recommendations are essentially law. They are to be taken as specific direction, right? And now he's saying, but we dignify you by allowing you to use your Bible-trained conscience. Allowing someone to use their Bible-trained conscience is saying, hey, if you guys want to go to college, that is between you and the God above. And that's it. That's the only thing you say about it. Saying, well, we need to discern if it would be a wise course of action for our spirituality. And then having a talk a couple months later saying, yeah, when we say that, is this really a wise course? Basically, we're telling you what to do. We're just seeing if you're smart enough to understand that. So why did you say that it was kind of sort of all right to begin with, if what you really wanted to say was don't go to university? So let's just open up Pandora's box. What's really going on here? This is Watchtower not wanting to be held legally responsible for dictating every aspect of a Jehovah's Witness life. Hey, you can't listen to this type of music. You can't watch these types of movies. You can't pursue this as a career path. You can't pursue this for your education. They're just going to say, well, it's a personal choice that you can make if you want to watch a rated R movie, but we don't recommend it. Hey, you want to listen to that rap, tap, hip hop, mumble jumbo nonsense? I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. So what they're trying to do is escape any legal ramifications for controlling Jehovah's Witnesses at every level, because that is a conversation that happens whenever their butts are hauled before a court or anything like that, or just even the court of public opinion, when they're hauled there and say, oh, well, you guys shun your members. We don't shun people. I mean, people can make a personal choice whether or not they want to shun their family members. We don't have any rules that say we'll punish them. We don't recommend it, though. And now to a Jehovah's Witness, this is the secret code. Oh, okay, now we're all thinking, we're all spiritual people. Okay, so even though they said that we don't shun people, and they officially said shunning is over, we're still supposed to shun people. Okay. The blood doctrine. I mean, whatever medical treatment you want for your and your children, that is a personal decision. But would it be wise to endanger your spirituality and potentially your eternal future? Personal decision. I feel like this is just them we'll get back to it, buttering people up for them having these unofficial changes to their more I don't want to say cantankerous, because that's not the word I'm looking for. Contentious, that was it. They're more contentious doctrines. The ones that get them in hot water. I don't think that it is unreasonable for them, as I've said before, to change just about everything. I feel like everything's on the table as long as you have something like this in place, right? You can have an official doctrine that says we don't tell people not to celebrate birthdays. But do we recommend it? Is it really wise to maybe potentially endanger our spirituality? And then every person that says, yeah, Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate birthdays, it'll be in some Watchtower and says, no, our official policy says we do not tell people what to do about this. They make a personal choice. And they can just run the gambit. Shunning. Well, we got rid of shunning, but we didn't get rid of shunning. I think that's my read on the situation. Comment down below. Let me know what your read on this possibly could be. But I don't, it's hard for me to see it in another light. But, maybe it's just because these lights are super bright and I'm a little bit blinded by that. But I do think that is the inevitable future of Watchtower, where they just have everything be a personal decision and then they can recommend certain things. But do we think that this will work?
No.
My personal opinion is it won't work for Watchtower. So, for instance, if they have a problem with shunning and more countries are saying, hey, you can't really be shunning people and not allowing them to have religious freedom, and then also expect to get religious freedom for your group. You can't say, well, what about our religious freedom? Why won't you give us our subsidies or grants? Why do you want to tax us? What about our religious freedom? Well, you can't do that, Mr. Let, when you don't give, especially minors, religious freedom within your organization. And they say, well, we don't tell people, or we don't shun people It's a personal choice that they make. I don't think that a government agency is going to buy it, because on the back of this, them saying, well, we don't have a rule that says that we shun people, we force people to shun their family. It's just, it's a personal choice they make. On the back of that will be hundreds, if not thousands of people whose lived experience and testimony will tell them a different story. So even if they change it in wording, will it actually change in function and practice? No. And I hope that a level-headed, sane government agency would be able to cut through the noise of that and say, well, you say you don't shun people, and yet every single person that leaves says that they are shunned and that their family no longer talks to them. Here's phone records of them calling every week and getting nothing back, and messages, text messages from parents to children or children to parents saying, that I can't talk to you. Why would you have evidence of Jehovah's Witnesses saying I can't talk to you if that's not an official doctrine, if it's not an official policy? So I personally highly question the efficacy of what I see what they're trying to do, or at least I think I see what they're trying to do, but I don't think it's actually going to be super effective. And if it is, I guess that's just another drop in the bucket of a corrupt system that just favors people with powerful lawyers, and the rest of us have to just sit there and whine and cry about it and make YouTube videos while we have a little cry sesh. Anyway, this was one of the more interesting talks that I've seen from Watchtower in quite some time, so I hope you guys did enjoy it. Don't forget to drop a like on the video, hype the video. I think this one is pretty important, so hopefully it does get out there to a fair amount of people, and hopefully maybe even Jehovah's Witnesses can see that their own leadership seems to be a little bit confused, or at least inconsistent in the message that they're trying to give to their people. Anyway, with all that being said, stay safe, be kind, and don't forget to spend more time loving the things you love than hating the things you hate. Now go out there and have a good ass day.